the real big push for us is user acquisition, customer focus, and then digital marketing. Like that's it. Those are our three objectives, and that's all we're going to focus on for 2024.
What is up, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central. My name is Fareed. As a part of today's video, I'm going to be introducing a brand new project to Dapp Central here, and that's going to be none other than the Fluxpoint Studios platform. Now, as a part of today's video, I'm going to be meeting and chatting with the founder. His name is going to be Nate, aka the Decimalist. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and bring him up as we get ready to dive into Fluxpoint Studios and everything that they're bringing over into the gaming space, as well as Cardano and blockchain. Nate, aka Decimalist. How you doing, man?
Good, Reed. How are you?
I'm great. I've been running around. We actually had to reschedule this call. So before we even just go any further, I want to say thank you for allowing me that kind of flexibility. I know you've got some pretty big trips and some meetings coming up. And so, as you're getting ready for that, I want to maybe just touch a little bit on Fluxpoint Studios, right? And have this be an introduction to this platform on my particular channel. And so, yeah, maybe let's just go ahead and just kind of kick this off. Do you mind giving us a little bit about who you are? And then we'll jump straight into Fluxpoint Studios.
Yeah, absolutely. So just the relevant parts of who I am realistically. I used to be a professional gamer. I used to stream on Twitch TV and stuff like that. I was in the top 0.5% of players in North America in World of Warcraft for PvP. And then I also rated with some of the best guilds around back in that day. You kind of moved in the same circles sometimes just because of the people you knew, right? Ultimately, a lot of the friends that I made there and kind of like the players that you would swap out and stuff when you weren't playing with a team for a tournament, you played with everybody, really. Whoever you were fighting one day, you'd be teaming up with the next, or it might even just be matches you would switch on and off. So that's kind of just how it was. And it was really cool. I got to meet a lot of people, connect with a lot of people, and that was the best for me because like in school and stuff, I didn't do too well with I guess, I don't know, meeting and connecting with people socially, despite how it may seem that I'm very outgoing. It just not really my thing, but online where people have the same interests is very, very easy for me to do. And so, as we grew up and moved on to different things, I still kept connections with a lot of those people. They're in, some of them work for like Blizzard Activision now, some work for Riot Games, and various, some even work for Cloud9 Gaming, esports. So, and then I myself, I went more into like the customer experience vertical. I have about a little over 15 like years of tech project management and customer experience leadership. Doing a lot of different stuff in the tech and customer experience vertical. And then all the while being very still like connected with crypto and stuff like that. It was a very easy transition for me to be into crypto and blockchain and learn as much as possible. So I kind of began my journey in 2017, made a little bit of money, and then pulled out during that bear market and then got all back in after when the next bull market started, and then found Cardano very quickly after some investigation stuff. It just seemed like it most effectively solved the crypto trilemma of scaling, decentralization, and security. And that sounded like a good place to kind of like plant roots and start trying to like build something. I've always had the desire to be, build something myself, like lasting and make a good impression on the world, a good impact. And so I figured, Cardano was a good place to start. Something I thought about for a long time was designing a Dapp or a game that basically already added benefits to everyone's pre-existing NFTs, right? Even the ones that have been rugged, because you have like this code, you have this cool art, maybe, something that you've connected with sentimentally. And the deepest connection a person can have with that is when they open up their wallet, right? And they're willing to pay for it. You have to have a pretty deep connection to do that to whatever you're purchasing, right? So I said, hey, well, it seems like a lot of games and these, Web3 projects kind of like silo you and make you buy their stuff, and then that's how you get spun up into kind of their ecosystem. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you just built the studio and then provided like GameFi mechanisms, but everyone could still bring their NFTs that they've already have a deep commitment to inside. Of course, provide our own products, but and offer them right at an additional benefit, but don't shun the people that don't have those away. Like bring them in. In fact, cast as wide a net as possible that you can, right? So that doesn't even just stop at anybody in Web3. It goes beyond that to even in Web 2, traditional gaming, right? Because a lot of people just still don't understand it yet, and that's why they're not here. And so that's what ultimately the idea was behind Fluxpoint Studios. It started off very small. I had a very clear vision of what I wanted to do, but I knew that I needed to just take it in stride, right? Take small steps. So first, it just started off as like the game, the initial game to get out there and kind of show a proof of concept of what we were doing, right? And that was Pit Brawl. And Pit Brawl, we were able to launch. So technically, the Pit Brawl project started in February of 2023. And then the launch of the game, which is a Unity Web GL game, so you can play it right in your browser and everything, that took place 4 months after we launched. In fact, right when the project PFP Pit Brawl launched, we even had a proof of concept in Discord. So if you had like one of our NFTs and stuff, you could actually it give you access to an exclusive channel where we called it the Brawl Bot, and it was something we developed where it was like more like a text-based version of Pit Brawl where you can like click a button and attack or charge or what have you. I might have some screenshots somewhere lying around, but the OGs that were in the community know what I'm talking about. So they were battling. We actually had like 60 something people battling in a Discord channel before we launched Pit Brawl. And then now with Pit Brawl, we have a Unity Web GL game. Like I said, you could just scan a QR code and start playing. You could technically play in Vesper right now, like if you connected your wallet and everything. We need to broaden those capabilities a little bit with the Web3 integration. Right now, with the chain load being so high in Cardano, it takes a long time for NFTs to load through block frost and stuff like that. So we have some optimizations coming for Cardano folks in the very near future. And then we're also implementing Wallet Connect 2.0. So that'll open it up to basically all EVM blockchains. So you'll be able to play with NFTs from like Avalanche, Ethereum, Polygon, VeChain, whatever, right? You can connect through Wallet Connect, and you can actually play with that being your character. So it's a way to like you can have that connection to your player as you're playing the game, and then you're ranking up. It's PvP. You're battling against other people, and you're gaining honor rank while you're doing that. And that's basically what put us on the map, right? And before I go into any more of the features of Pit Brawl, I would just want to pause right there and then see if you had, any other path you want me to go down before I just keep going, because I will.
No, I appreciate that. I think you actually kind of touched on my first and generally my second question, right? So I typically like to start off with a little bit about you, your background, and then I want to jump into the main platform. So you kind of touched on, of course, your background being a gamer. I can definitely relate to that. I was very big, not into sports games, but I was very big into shooters, first-person shooters. So games like Call of Duty, Gears of War, Splinter Cell. Like I love those types of games, and I still do. Now, granted, I don't spend as much time playing them nowadays because all of my time goes into making content when I have some spare time to spend. But it's really good to be able to relate to you in that sense. I think a lot of people in the crypto and blockchain space are also gamers. I feel like just understanding that type of tech really translated, at least for me, over into this particular niche where I just kind of fell in love. It reminded me of the same community. So that aside, I do appreciate the intro in the background. You then talked about giving life to rugged NFTs or NFTs that no longer, have an utility, which I think was actually a really cool thing to hear as well. I would love to hear about other people in the community, and what their takes are when it comes to reviving some of these NFTs, because I think everybody's got at least one of them in their wallet, right? And I'm sure if you take a look across everybody's wallets, there's millions, of NFTs that are just kind of they just they've been exhausted, for a lack of word. They no longer serve a purpose, whether the team's not around, whether the people aren't just trading it, whatever the case is, they're no longer needed or being used. And so to be able to have a platform that's thinking about how can we revive these, how can we give them the utility again, I think is really cool to hear. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you did a solid job answering those first two questions. I think before we go any further, I was taking a look at the website, and I did see Pit Brawl. I try to jump in there in real time as you were speaking, but I've got to like register and get everything ready. So I'll have to spend some time, another time to actually do all that and then kind of follow up here as to just my take and the experience surrounding Pit Brawl. I do also see another game called Tribe. So, without, I guess, going too deep, do you mind explaining to us what Tribe is, but then also, what are the plans for adding additional games or assets, or will it kind of just be the focus for Pit Brawl and Tribe moving forward? Just maybe kind of walk us through that process. Number one, what is Tribe? And then number two, what else can we expect in terms of games and collaborations?
Yeah, sorry. Um, so try would definitely probably, cater to your niche style of playing games, it sounds like, because that is very much like a Call of Duty, Fortnite type of game. Tribe is set in a post-apocalyptic world where CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, have slowly and then all of the sudden destroyed the world as we know it, right? Quite literally, through surveillance, control, and everything that came with it. The tribes that are left is a reference to those tribalistic tendencies we all have when we're on a protocol like Cardano or Ethereum or Polygon, and we're all vying for our own principles and ideals that align with those protocols, however misguided sometimes they may be, right? Just it's playing on that tribalism, and that's kind of how we worked it into the title of the game. And that's the last remaining people in this world that you are playing and fighting against, right? And what they are trying to do is gain resources and additional, and resources come in all forms, right? Like their money, their weapons, armor, followers, tribe members, etc., and winning them over to their side, right? So there's a lot that is eventually going to spring out of this title. There's a lot coming, but with V1 of Tribe that's set to release within the next like 60 days, you're going to have the ability to play a battle royale type game that's really, really high quality, built in Unreal Engine 5. Or we have another battle mode that's just team deathmatch. So people are very familiar with those two concepts, like team deathmatch and battle royale. But since we're very targeted towards like the esports side of things and competitive gaming and stuff, as you can see, we are going to add additional game modes that cater to those types of players, right? And can draw more audience in for different types of competitive games rather than just like your Call of Duties and your battle royales and things like that. So that's really what Tribe's all about, and it's going to be awesome because we have an. I'll just quickly plug. We have an upcoming mint on Polygon blockchain for our karambit knives. Very beautifully done. We have an amazing graphic designer that did that, and hopefully he'll be there with me at the next Rare Evo. But he did a beautiful job with these 3D rendered karambits, and you can actually use them in Tribe as your weapon, like as your knife. You'll be swinging it and stuff, your own unique one. And then also those knives will be available in Pit Brawl as a weapon. More of an aesthetic purpose in Pit Brawl and Tribe, really. It's more of an aesthetic type thing, but it's also clout, right? Because those knives are dynamic on Polygon as well. Those NFTs and metadata upgrades. So the more kills you get, that will be reflected on chain. So, you can kind of have that flex, which is very, very important for gamers. I know personally. So that's Tribe, right? And then with what to expect additionally, yeah, we started with Pit Brawl. We moved in that direction just because it was the easiest way to do the proof of concept. Like, hey, we can produce a game, get it out there, hook up like GameFi incentives to it, make it Web3, build a community. Now our flagship product, Tribe, which is really going to put us on the map. And then we're also, I like to say it's an active development, but the reality is it's kind of on the back burner, but it will be coming. Is we have a mobile focused game. It's completely mobile. It'll be apps on Android, so Google Play Store and iPhone on the App Store, and that's like a old school like RPG type feel. Like your Final Fantasy, your Mystic Quest, your all that type of stuff where it's very story driven and things like that, and it's more just an RPG. And that's because we have some really cool implementations that I really can't talk about, where we're going to hook up some AI in some really cool and unique ways, and also some blockchain tech into that mobile game, and it'll be a completely different experience than people are used to. So, but we're kind of just prioritizing. We want to make sure that 2024 is a very, very focused approach to having a tremendously successful launch with Tribe and really solidifying ourselves and putting us on the map for GameFi and being a true contender in the gaming ecosystem with blockchain games.
Yeah, thank you for the details there on Tribe and the focus on um, the mobile compatibility moving forward, which, as you mentioned, right now appears to be on the back burner. So that's okay. Again, I think this is more or less just trying to understand what Fluxpoint Studios is. And again, just get that introduction here on the network or on the channel. Now, I do want to also maybe just kind of pivot a little bit. So obviously, I'm speaking with you. Do you mind maybe jumping into the team, the support? Do you briefly mention the designer there for one of the upcoming sales on Polygon? But like, who else is a part of this team? And I guess maybe just diving into that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So prior to probably like the last maybe 3 months,
Hmm.
like, so this is a fairly recent development. It's just been myself and then contracted, right? Like we just had some people contracted. And then obviously I like to work with the same contractors because we have certain agreements in place and things like that. And I don't like to hire a lot of additional people and have too many people touching my product or intellectual property. It just gets messy, right? And plus, you want to find someone that's really good and stick to it. So that's what we did, and it's been going fairly well. We now have incorporated recently, so we're actually Fluxpoint Studios Incorporated, and we're having our kind of work agreements rearranged and stuff. We're working with the legal team, so we got our legal team. We have a lawyer. I'm not going to disclose people's names necessarily until all that stuff's done. So that way, all the agreements are placed, everyone's signed and all that stuff. But we have a legal team. They're helping us set up all that paperwork and stuff. And then we have, our 3D designer who you'll meet. And I don't think he minds me mentioning his name is Chris Fox. Very talented. He's out of California. I met him through working at Indigo. And then I have another gentleman. His name is Robert. Just to protect his identity and stuff for now. I'll just say that, he's from Tokyo and he's worked for some really big game companies in the past and stuff. And he now works for me full time and the company full time. So that's great. And then we just recently hired digital marketing, a director of digital marketing and partnerships. That's awesome as JL. So a lot of people know him. Biggest musician in the metaverse is his moniker. And then we have Flamtam, who I met from the Cardano Crocs Club, and he's our director of community operations. We also have Sophia James, who is our basically like Discord community manager, like runs all the operations for that, because that's like a whole new beast on its own. And yeah, so that's basically the team right now. And then we have we work with an agency out of Europe, and I won't give away who that is right now yet or anything. I'll probably disclose that after Tribe is launched, but they've been super great to work with, and they are primarily focused on Tribe. So it's freed up a lot of development time from me, and now I can just focus on like, the decision making and the operations and stuff. So it's been great.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I can definitely understand in a space like we are, which is ever changing. You're not always able to reveal everybody's identity, especially if they don't want to have that revealed. I work with plenty of people that are still doxxed, but I myself, of course, am not doxxed, and so again, I completely understand that dilemma. But I also appreciate you sharing a little bit about the team there. Now, I do want to go ahead and also quickly maybe just focus a little bit on 2024. So we're in a brand new year. What can you tell us about the focus and what we can expect coming in from Fluxpoint Studios?
Yeah, so in 2024 is really focused on solidifying that we are a multi-chain platform, right? So I talked about Wallet Connect 2.0 for Piproll. I talked about the new collection drop and expanding our NFT assets to Polygon, right? With that Karambit mint that's coming up at the end of January. By the way, watch for that 26th. You're going to want to participate. It's some amazing game assets. And then the successful launch of Tribe, right? And that's like a huge thing for us. And then it's basically, well, and before I move on to the next part, also with the expansion of our assets, I can't officially announce it yet, but you're going to see shards on some additional chains also. There's shards is going to be a multi-chain token, and that's our native token, which basically powers our entire ecosystem. Um, and then outside of that cross-pollination, the real big push for us is user acquisition, customer focus, and then digital marketing. Like that's it. Those are our three objectives, and that's all we're going to focus on for 2024. That way, we're very clear in our vision, and every action we take aligns with those three things. So that way, we're not, subject to any scope infringement. We're trying to do A through Z all at the same time, because a lot of great teams can start their performance start degrade rather rapidly because they're trying to do too many things at once, right? And what we're dedicated to is providing amazing gaming experience, and so that's what our entire focus is going to be for 2024.
Yeah, I tend to say not just within development, but even with content creation, quality always trumps quantity. Quantity is great as long as you don't lose quality in the process, right? So I definitely do think that focusing on a few things, making sure that those are done well and that those respond well with the community is always better than putting stuff out there, quickly to say, hey, we got our roadmap done, but we weren't able to, put the time, we weren't able to make it the quality that the community would expect. And so it is good to hear that. Again, I think, and it's not just Fluxpoint Studios. I've been trying to cover more projects that have kind of gone without as much recognition as they probably deserve. And so that's actually why I'm doing more interviews beginning in 2024. But it's interesting for me because every team has a different way to come to market. And I think a lot of that depends on what their niche is, right? So you're in the gaming niche, your approach to marketing and your approach to getting discovered by people on Cardano or all these other networks that the Shard and the Fluxpoint Studio games are going to be launched on will be completely different than a DeFi protocols approach, right? So again, I wanted to ask that question to kind of hear a little bit more about that. And I do definitely do appreciate that. Now we are getting to about the 25-minute mark right now for today's interview. I want to maybe just go ahead and land the plane here with, an open-ended question for the most part. If there's anything else that you want to share here with the community, that you think that they should know about Fluxpoint Studios, what would that be and why?
I think now that we have products already out, we've delivered and stuff. Um, I think now is like the best time for me to just let the community and even potential community members out there that may not have heard of us or that have maybe been following us, but are kind of like trying to decide where they want to dip their toe in or if they want to become more involved. We have a solid strategy. We have a solid team. We operate at a very high level. And what I love about Web3 is like you can just start with an idea, right? And you can meet some people and you can start putting things together, which is how like 99% of what you see in this ecosystem is. The unfortunate consequence of that, though, is that most of them fail. And that's not any different than the traditional world of business. Like, the majority of startups fail within the first couple of years. You have poor planning for budgets. You have staff you're overpaying for. You have visions of co-founders that are not aligned. Strategy changes and things like that. And then maybe you lose what the initial vision was ultimately, or you're guided too much by community voice and you lose yourself in it, right? There's all these things that can play, and weigh in on that and change, a business's trajectory. But if you wanted a solid business that you could bet on, that would be Fluxpoint Studios Incorporated. Like I said, solid strategy, solid team. We have business acumen. We have business backgrounds. We've done things like this in the past, and we're doing everything right by the book, and we're set up for success. Like, this could very easily be a company that you can see years to come without any additional like funding coming from the community. In fact, we've not really taken, I think the sum total of community funds we ever raised was like $2,000, but this has been bought and paid for by me. I mean, I've poured over $50,000 of my own money in building this company, and I don't have any plans of stopping anytime soon. I'm prepared to operate at a loss for the next year to 2 years if I have to. I know I won't have to because of the conversations I'm having now, but if you wanted like more of a sure thing, that, I guess that's my commitment to you. So definitely check us out.
And to that end, for anybody who's looking to find out more about Fluxpoint Studios or maybe just join the community, what's the easiest way that they can go ahead and do that?
Yeah, just you can either go to our Twitter, and that's at Fluxpoint Studio, no S on that. Or you can go to www.fluxpointstudios.com, and then we have our Twitter link on there, or our X link now. We have our Discord link on there, and you could jump in the Discord and stuff. You can just get at us on X if you want to, or you could shoot us an email. Like, we even have our email set up and everything. But get involved, start playing the games, because Pit Brawl is actually, as of this weekend, it's compete to earn. You don't even have to have an NFT. You will, if you play the game and rank up, you can earn shards just by playing the game.
Interesting. I do appreciate that. And for anybody, just to make sure that there's no confusion, I'll go ahead and leave the links to their Twitter and their official website down below as a part of today's video description. Mr. Decimalist, I want to thank you. I know you've probably got to run to your next appointment. We're chatting a little bit before we hit record. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of close things out. Again, introduction to Fluxpoint Studios. Much appreciated. Wish you all the best. And for the ladies and gentlemen watching at the house, if you guys do appreciate content like this, make sure to smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions for myself or Nate surrounding Fluxpoint Studios, and make sure to go ahead and leave them down below in the comments section. That said, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.